Hi, I'm Patrick Mulligan, and I'm 65 years old, and I just finished my 50th state marathon, and it was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So now I've done one marathon, or at least one marathon in each of the 50 states. But I'm gonna suck it up, Buttercup. Suck it up, Buttercup. I didn't start running official races until I was in my 30s. Before that, I just ran here and there. I started running when I was a kid with my friend who we walked to school together. We would sometimes run home from school through the woods or whatever. In college, I ran from class to class. When I was back home living with my parents, I remember learning distances from being driven around by my dad. I'd remember these routes and know the distances when I ran. My first official race was in 1992 when I was 32. It was a DARE, Run Drugs Out of Town 5K in October of that year in Providence. I would run like sporadically then. In fact, for a few years, I would run that race. It was in October at the time. And I wouldn't run again until spring because I didn't want to run through snow and ice in the winter. I don't know what made me do it. It was, I think it was just because I was living right in Providence. It's like I walked like on those streets all the time. I thought it'd be fun to do that. I thought I could only run 5Ks for a while because that was my one race a year that I did until 1996. And I signed up for this race in East Providence and I called up and asked them the distance. I said, is that a 5K? And the guy said, yes. And I went to sign up in person there, and it was more than 5 miles. So he gave me the wrong information, but I did the race and I was fine. So I thought, oh, I can do more than 5K. So and then that just progressed. 5 miles turned into 10, then into a half marathon in New Bedford, Massachusetts. 8 months later, in November of 1997, I ran my first full marathon, the Ocean State Marathon in Providence, Rhode Island, finishing in 3 hours, 48 minutes, and 30 seconds. I didn't know it at the time, but Rhode Island became my first state. After that, I couldn't stop. I was addicted. I realized that running did more for my depression than any medication I had ever taken. It became my antidepressant. I had tried medications and they were not good for me. So so they would have the opposite effect of what they should have. And so so I think for me, and I'm not like saying this, it works for everyone, but for me, it is an antidepressant. When I don't run, I feel, I can get down and it's not a good feeling at all. And I would prefer not to be on any type of medication. So that's why I think of running is my medication, because it keeps me upbeat, it keeps me thinking positively and looking at the positive side of things. So I kind of have to run for health reasons. I mean, it is good for health reasons and it's always talked about as exercise is good for mental health also. So I actually truly believe that. So that it is my antidepressant. 5 months after my first marathon came state number 2. But it wasn't until 2008 when a friend suggested I run a 3-state marathon trifecta that the idea really clicked. That's when the goal was born, to run a marathon in every state. My biggest regret is that my father never got to see me run a marathon. We had become closer after my mother died, and he loved that I was a runner. He was my biggest fan. On the day of the Boston Marathon in April of 1997, I was visiting my dad in a nursing home, and I told him I'd run Boston the next year after qualifying in the fall. He died 2 months later, the day after Father's Day, so he never did see me run a marathon. And I remember one day I was at the hospital, and I said to him, and it happened to be a Monday in April, and I said to him, I'm going to do that next year because I'm going to run the Ocean State Marathon in November and qualify, and then I'm going to run Boston Marathon next year. And because he used to always ask me, like, do you do the 5K? You know, ask me about the races I did. And so he died like the day after Father's Day that year. I did not qualify for Boston then, since I needed a 3:15 and then I ran a 3:48:30. So, but you know, that got me. I did qualify a year later in the Hartford Marathon. I don't know. I just always think of that, like telling that to my father and being kind of bummed he wasn't around to see me finish my first marathon. I went on to run Boston 28 consecutive years, qualifying 25 times and earning membership in the Quarter Century Club, which means I no longer have to qualify as long as I keep showing up year after year. Every time I stand at the Boston starting line, I think of my father and how proud he would have been. The 2013 Boston Marathon bombing felt surreal. I was already back at the hotel watching on TV a video of the explosion and smoke rising at the finish line, almost as if it was happening somewhere else. But it wasn't somewhere else. I was there. I was just a block away. It could have been me or any of us in that hotel room, saved by being in an earlier start wave that day. My most meaningful marathon was probably 2014 Boston, because it was a year after the bombings. And because I can't remember how many thousand people didn't finish in 2013 because they stopped the race, they allowed those people to come back the next year, so it was a larger field than usual. And it just felt awesome that we were like coming back together, like Boston strong, for each other and for the city, and in defiance of anyone trying to take that away from us. I've now finished my 50th state marathon. I'm 65 and I don't see myself ever stopping. I still have goals. I want to finish the World Marathon Majors. I spent most of my life running on roads, but now I'm working on trail run, building confidence and learning the terrain. I've done a few ultramarathons and I really love them. I've completed a 100-mile race twice, the hamster wheel, and I want to run more 100 miles, mostly on trails. As long as my feet keep moving, that's as long as I'll keep on running.